Going live. I should be starting off with the glasses. Hold on. What is crack-a-lackin', Tech Yes citizens all around the world? We've got a Tech Yes City live stream for you today. And come tune in, come chat, and also come ask questions, come join in on the conversation. And we're talking about many different topics. It's a special Happy Halloween live stream. I'm meant to be Wally. These glasses, they got reflections going on everywhere. There's a lot of sunlight coming in here, so I will take them off. If you want to see them back on, then do let us know in chat. But yeah, so I'm meant to be Where's Wally? A little bit of a... I kind of looked in the mirror and I was like, I kind of look like a prisoner Wally, just come out of the pen. So, what? I mean, hey, from just out of the pen, maybe I'm looking for deals, right? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about with today's live stream straight away. We'll get into the first topic. So get cozy, go grab a cup of tea or a beer, whatever you want to do, relax. And we go right here, Ryzen 5 5500. Now, I was shocked. I saw this in the parts hunt, and I didn't really have enough time to process while I was in Tokyo. And what I was looking at here was like, whoa, these price cuts are huge, right? Should I just be buying new now instead of used and what's on the shelves? Because a lot of these stores in Japan, they had these prices higher on new stuff. I mean, sorry, used stuff was higher than the new stuff. So the prices right now, AMD and Intel and Nvidia will touch on their financials a little bit later in the live stream. But essentially what you're seeing is they got nowhere to run. And so they got to drop prices to move this inventory. And we got also chats coming in and tagging us as well. Like last stream I asked, does modern dating suck? I'm dating a girl now and I faked my confidence and it worked very well for me. Cheers. No worries, man. That's what it's all about, Tech Yes City. You get that advice outside of tech too, and you use it and it works, right? So it's not just hustling tech components, it's hustling everything in life, right? Even hustle a can of baked beans if you have to, because they got some good price performance going on. But what we saw with these price cuts, I was just like shocked. I had to take a step back and look at what was going on here. I was like, whoa, okay, AMD, AM4. I thought the AM5 price cuts were coming sooner than the AM4 price cuts, because if we look at the Japanese numbers right away, because the Japanese website's great, right? It gives you rankings based on sales volume, and it's basically value.com. Kakaku.com's price.com, but I prefer to it as value.com because everyone looking for value is going to this Japanese website. So we'll pull it up right now. And we see here the 5600G is now moved up to number 1 in Japan. Fantastic value at this price, right? You're looking at under $130 for a 6-core 12-thread Ryzen with Radeon graphics on board. Absolutely phenomenal. Then the 8-core was moved in. So a lot of people do want an 8-core 16-thread over a 6-core 12-thread. That should sort of be a trend that's moving in. The Steam survey numbers also show this as a trend as well. A lot of people want 8 cores, 16 threads. The 5800X3D, that's outselling all the other new CPUs here in Japan. So even people on high end are like, well, if I want to get an RTX 4090 or 3080 or whatever, I just go couple it with a 5800X3D. Great CPU for gaming. So they're sort of taking that initiative with the much cheaper motherboard and platform costs. And so this is sort of throwing a massive spanner in the works, because I thought AMD would want to sell more of their AM5 CPUs especially, but maybe their strategy is like, look, let's just sell out all the AM4 stuff and then just start chilling on AM5 going into Christmas. But I mean, AM5, the sales volumes are abysmally low on AM5. In fact, the number 1 selling CPU on AM5 right now is the 7950X. So it's selling more than the 7900X. It's selling more than the 7700X. It's selling more than the 7600X. And it's scratching my head, because this is the first generation of Ryzen CPUs where that trend has happened, where people are just going for the highest end SKU and they're ignoring the other 3 SKUs. And of course, that just shows you that people who are looking for the 6-core or the 8-core, they're looking for more value, and so they're not going on AM5. So AM4 is where it's at for value, but even then, you've gotten a massive price cut now on AM4. So it's made it even better. The motherboard costs are awesome. The B450s, B550s, they can be had for much cheaper than not only AM5, but also B660 as well. So I kind of think this is a move to sort of keep AMD in the headlines with Intel's new release of Raptor Lake. It's a very strong move. It's a very sort of, hey, we're coming out and we're making sure Intel's going to suffer. And if we're going to suffer, Intel's going to suffer too. So I really like what I'm seeing here, because at the end of the day, it's the consumer that is just winning. So we're seeing this across Europe. We're seeing it across, so Mind Factory. I pulled up Mind Factory, very popular German retailer. These price cuts have pretty much immediately flowed through. And then we've got, if we pull up AliExpress, they're kind of flowing through to AliExpress. People are like, hey man, prices are getting cheaper everywhere. We're going to compete. So AliExpress has dropped the price. Not as much as you can find it for locally adjusted, but Australia, price cuts have flown through already there. And just such good deals on these CPUs for gamers, mainly for gamers as well, who want something relevant. But the interesting thing is that these price cuts haven't shown up in the US just yet. So I found that very interesting. So maybe they're coming to the US soon, or maybe AMD sales in the US are just really strong. So yeah, people in the comments, you're saying you found Wally. So yeah, Wally's looking for the deals, and he got caught out because the deals are coming right now. So I hope you're having a happy Halloween wherever you are in the world. And yeah, just have a bit of fun. In Japan as well. In Japan, Halloween's really a lot of fun here. Like, it's absolutely amazing here in Japan. Just everyone's sort of like going out, parties. Like, we had a party with a little kid, and all his friends came around and their parents came around, and we had a great day. And then we went out after that as well. And so, you know, we had the dedicated person take care of the kids. So had a lot of fun on the Saturday. And then Sunday, I was going to live stream yesterday, but the Sunday was brutal. Like, came up pretty washed up yesterday. So I was like, oh, I'll live stream on the Monday instead of the Sunday. So here we are. But it might be Sunday night for people over in the US. So a little bit further ahead here. But yeah, anyhow, AM4 price cuts, they're amazing. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the used market as well, especially the Ryzen 5 5500. Coming in most countries now under 100 US, it's phenomenal value. This is going to put so much pressure on the used market, it's not funny. So if you've been waiting to pick up a real bargain of a PC, or you want to build your own gaming PC, then it's flowing through right now. You're going to see these prices, you're going to see people react, see people moving out their old stock, and just wait for it. So this Christmas is going to be good if you've saved up a bit of money and you've wanted to build a gaming PC. So that's really awesome. So that's the first topic, and do let us know what you guys feel about in the comments about AM4, about 13th gen Intel, about also the AM5. I'm sort of like, I'm just loving what I'm seeing right now. Haircuts all around. Absolute haircut, just everywhere you go. People are having to cut prices. We also saw that in yesterday's parts hunt with the GPU prices. I could not believe how many GPUs are now on the shelves in Japan. And this is Japan, right? Japan. Like, out of like America, UK, Australia, New Zealand, per person, Japanese wouldn't have really partaken in mining, crypto mining. Not anywhere near as much. But there was so many miners in Japan now offloading their graphics cards. So I thought that was really crazy to see how many cards are just coming up on the market now in terms of GPUs. So when the price is right, of course, I'm going to be picking them up. Later on the stream as well, I'll talk about what I'm going to be doing with the cards. I think a lot of the parts that I got here, I'll be taking back to Australia and then flipping gaming PCs in Australia, because it's just much more, not only is it a lot easier, it's just a lot more profitable, I feel. Like the Japanese are very competitive economy in Japan. So you'll have people making, whole gaming PC, taking the risk of warranty and all that for $50. In Australia, it's like a minimum $200. So there's that aspect. The last parts hunt was insane. I wish I was there to buy a GPU. Yeah, so if you come into Japan for a holiday, it's a great time because the yen's really weak. And then you can build a gaming PC while you're here too and know that you're going to get phenomenal value. So if you're a gamer and you like holidaying, like here and there, or you love Japan, you're just going to get maximum value out of a holiday in Japan right now, that's for sure. The weather is also really good right now, just now. In a month's time, it's going to be really cold, but right now the weather's really good. Perfect. So Oh yeah. Like people like be careful not to show your address. It's just like Highland Park's just the suburb. So like Highland Park's just 4211. That's just the suburb where I live. So, I mean, if you can find my house in that whole massive area, man, you got some skills. That's all I'll say. So, but we got before we move on to the next topic, the big hardware adapter, Nvidia 16-pin. We're going to quickly look at today's video, the sponsor of today's live stream, that is SCD Keys, VIP SCD Keys, channel sponsor here for a long time. Absolutely amazing deal on Windows 10, Windows 11 Pro. Guys, if you want to get Windows 11, don't overpay for the Windows 11 Pro. Just get the Windows 10 Pro license and then use that for Windows 11. It works absolutely fine. Use that coupon code as we did before, BFTYC on checkout, and you're going to get that price knocked down significantly, down to $15. So links in the description below. And let's get back to now the 12-pin. Now, GN just released a video. If you want to keep up to date, I actually didn't even look at this topic until this morning on the power connectors. I really just wanted to take a step back. And also we got a $5 donation. Thank you, SK Hijinks. He said, RTX 2080 Ti 11GB. What's a good price to nab one for used in Australia? Okay, we'll quickly answer that one for you, my man. Thanks for the donation. I'd be going, like, if you could, I would try and get one. I'd pay no more than 700 Aussie dollars for a 2080 Ti. So what would that be in USD terms? So 700 AUD to USD. So 450 max, like that's even max before we even get into the condition of the card. I'd be trying to snag one up for like, just by looking at these USD figures, for around 380 tops. But even then, I would, like the 2080 Ti is desirable for more video editing. And see, the reason it has a higher price is because of video editors love this graphics card. It's adored from video editors. This has got 11 gigabytes of VRAM, very powerful card. And so I feel for gamers, you're better off just trying to get like a 3070 for the same money and get on the newer architecture with better features. So I'd personally be going for a 3070, maybe a 3080 if you can, because they come around similar prices. That's what I found. And I haven't been picking up any 2080 Ti's as of recent, so you may have seen that. But yeah, this 12-pin power connector, if you guys want to get up to speed on it, just the GN video is amazing because he goes through so much. Like, kudos to the guy, man. I worry about his health. Like, this is one point where, I mean, as a YouTuber, I know you can get so far into YouTube and you just keep getting into it. Like, you want, but I mean, I got to send the guy a DM and just say, bro, I hope you're getting enough sleep. I hope you're taking care of your health. Because, I mean, he's spending the whole weekend doing this sort of research, and it's really appreciated. Like, amazing work from GN. Absolutely incredible work. And I do worry about that aspect of some of these creators. Like, I stopped doing that a couple of years ago, actually, because I realized I was just sacrificing my health at the sake of just getting the content out as soon as possible. But he's done an excellent piece here, which just really sort of shows you at the moment you can't say with certainty what the problem is, because he couldn't replicate the melting conditions in his studio, and he tried various different scenarios, various different adapters. And so what they found, though, is that their findings were different to Igor's Labs. Now, Igor's Labs also did some amazing work. He did a lot of research on this topic and came up and thought it was mainly the soldering and the adapter. But from there, you can see here, there's blanket statements that have been pushed out on this topic. And it's like the inferior quality of the NVIDIA's own adapter. And it's like, you can't say that without only testing one adapter. It could be a faulty adapter from a group. Could have just been a batch from a certain manufacturer of those adapters. Did NVIDIA make the adapters themselves? Who made these adapters? Who did the soldering? So there's sort of all these questions of, was it a bad batch? Because if we look back to the 2080 Ti, the last time this was a massive issue with graphics cards was the VRAM issue on the 2080 Ti. I actually came into that personally. I had a 2080 Ti that was bugging out, and it was indeed the VRAM, and it was indeed Micron VRAM. So those suspicions on the cards back then with the Micron VRAM ended up being right, but people were saying it was the capacitors on the back of the card. I just remember there were so many different theories out there, and you couldn't nail it down until you actually had more concrete evidence. And so at this stage, it's looking like it's perhaps a bad batch of connectors that have come out. And that's like, it sucks. But another thing about the power is it's so difficult to exactly diagnose this. But what we can find out so far is that what we've got is this is happening at the connection point. So it's happening at that point where the adapter is connecting to the GPU, and that's where the melting's occurring. It's happening, like every picture I've seen of this issue, it's happening in an uneven way. So there's something going on at one point in that GPU connector that is then allowing the card to just get ridiculously hot at that point, and then it's melting the plastic and then causing failure after that once the power can't flow through. So is it perhaps some people aren't connecting? Like, to be honest, I'm going to critique this thing straight away. It doesn't, like, if you connect a PCIe 8-pin adapter, it clicks in. You know when that thing is just clicked in 100%. This thing, you're not getting that solid click. So this adapter right here, you're just not getting that solid click, bang, it's 100% in. And so what could be happening here is some people could be, it could be an issue of not connecting 100%, and it's not the person's fault because they've felt like they've connected it. It could be a bad batch of connectors. The list goes on at the moment on what it could exactly be. I haven't run into any problems with these adapters. I do think though, like 4 PCIe connectors into this little bridge. I do think it's a weird choice for a connector. I will sort of come out and say that. I think yeah, it should have been a little bit more. I don't know. I don't mind more cables and more connections if it means I'm going to get 100% stability. That's all. I think this thing is little. I think it is in ways flimsy. And so I hope that the bottom, like the real answer comes out soon though, because people are worried, and that might deter people from getting a 4090, especially if they need it for work and they've got their 4090 in there as well. They might be, at the moment, feeling a bit insecure. So there's also that issue as well. So, you know, when it comes to your new 4090, especially if you're a person who saved up a lot of money and you're waiting for this new graphics card to come out, and then you got it, and you're like, well, am I at risk of my card melting down, right? So there's a lot of worry out there at the moment. So Nvidia does need to get on top of this one very quickly. And if there is found to be faulty connectors out there, bad batches, they've got to issue new adapters ASAP, ones that are much better in connection and do a much better job. Now, one thing, yeah. So, and David in the comments, David01, isn't it the resistance with the connections being loose with solder? So resistance is the issue, 100%. It's definitely, the resistance is 100% what it is. Back in 2000, I never spoke about this on my channel, but I got to actually upload some pictures later on to Twitter. I'll upload some pictures because they're in Oz. I had an AX1600 power supply from Corsair. Back in 2017, when I was doing when I was into crypto mining, I tried it out. Look, I didn't do the second round, learned a lot from it, but back when I was doing that, I actually had power connectors melting when the power connectors, the 8 pins, were melting at the AX1600 power supply itself. So I was using the piggybacks on 1080 Ti's, and the connection point would be melting at the power supply. Now, of course, I just quickly, all I did, resistance is futile. Love the comments section. What I was doing was I'd just be quickly breaking the plastic off, cleaning up the sockets, and then on the power supply, and then just plugging a new power cable in after a bit of WD-40. And of course, the actual cable itself was spent, so I had to get a new 8-pin PCIe connector power cable. It was absolutely spent, had to get a new one, but I was back up, ready, good to go. So this time around, however, because the 16 pins from Nvidia, it's really a 12 pin. I mean, you've got 4 pin sense there. Because these 12 pins are so flimsy and so small, if they melt, it's a lot harder to fix up the issue. So I kind of don't like the size of it, especially. I think it's a bit too small. And I think that's where, of course, the smaller things get, and then you're running more power through it, the higher the probability of a problem is of occurring. So, yeah. So, hey man, if you see this chat message, I want to know about one thing. How is Dadman doing? So yeah, I'm watching comments, guys. While we do this live stream, tune in. I am reading comments. Do not worry. If you really want to ask a question, tag us. I'll answer it. But we'll get on to questions after we get through all these topics. But yeah, quickly on Dadman, he's doing great. Dadman's the one person in the world that's taught me not to stress. Stress is a killer. If you've got stress in your life, you've got to try and eliminate stress. And yeah, he's a perfect example of how you can, I guess, just keep kicking for a long time without stress, even though you've got... Sorry, Dadman, but it's good for the people to know. Even if you got a really bad diet and all that, if you don't have stress, you'll still be kicking and you enjoy a good laugh. So Dadman's doing all right. He's still sticking to the no stress regimen. And yeah, that's... But we'll get him on. When I get back to Australia, we will get Dadman on a video. Do not worry about that. Dadman will be coming back on the channel. And B Rabbit, do you have access to 100... Oh, thanks for the $5 donation too, brother. Do you have access to the $150 Z690 ITX DDR4 board in Japan? How's your dad? Papa Deal. So more questions about Dadman. Okay, you guys missed Dadman. I'll get him back on the channel. That's pretty much confirmed at this point. I'll even get him in a Where's Wally costume as well. We'll double Waldo the live stream up. Okay, the Z690 Gigabyte ITX board. Do I have access for it? I can quickly check if we've got access to this motherboard. Z690 Gigabyte ITX. Sorry, I should have put ITX in there. It's out of stock, so no one's selling it at the moment, my man. So that's unfortunate. But is there a reason why you need the Gigabyte one? Is there for me, the ASRock ITX? I'm using the ASRock Mini ITX, the Phantom Gaming one here. I mean, it's a bit expensive, definitely a bit expensive. I'm using this one in my main rig. Had absolutely zero issues with this board, and that's with the 12900K. So that's if there's any reason you need the Gigabyte one, I mean, probably the price, right? 150 bucks is pretty good for Z690 ITX, but it's currently not here. So double dad live stream. That's it. That's where we're going. Double Waldo, double yeah. In terms of posting YouTube links, I think the spam filter doesn't do it. So yeah. Anyway, the bottom line with this topic is the GN video is the one to go look at. Go get, if you want to get up to speed with it. It's basically, at this point in time, there needs to be more data to be collected, or more data, depends on how you want to say the word. We definitely need more data to bring in a solid conclusion. And I already know for a fact, Nvidia is going to be all over this. I think even rumors that Jensen was flying to Taiwan or something to get to the bottom of it personally. So again, when you've got connectors melting, it's a serious issue. It's not like, okay, there's a glitch on your screen, it's a driver problem or something like that. When you've got connectors melting, it's serious, and that's the gravity of the situation. But saying that it's, saying that every single connector is faulty at this point in time, it's a blanket statement that I just feel is not true. You got to wait for more information, and really appreciate the piece that GN did, even though I worry about the dude. I've got to send him some grapefruit from Japan. So I posted up on Twitter what I've been eating for breakfast lately. Grapefruit, that's the only thing I ate for breakfast. And sometimes I have some oat and banana and stuff like that. But I got to get GN some grapefruit from Japan, and then he'll be supercharged. But he's got to have a break. He did too much work. He's doing too much work here. It's amazing work, but I worry about the guy. And then we got, okay, so we're going to move over to the next topic. Then we'll go over to free chat. We'll go over to free chat, and $2. Someone found Wally. And then $2. Hey, would you blow me? Thanks, man. I love that name, brother. You got me again. Here's half a Bigmac. Thanks, man. Actually, in Japan, the Bigmac, on the Bigmac Index, the Bigmac is the cheapest in the world right now, or one of the cheapest in the world. So if you're coming to Japan, you can eat a Big Mac. I mean, not that I'd recommend eating a Big Mac, but you can eat a Big Mac knowing that you're getting much better value for a Big Mac over here than you are in Japan. And then thanks for the $2 donation. He found Wally. So everyone's finding Wally today. I am right here, guys. You don't have to look any further. And Wally's given you the tech news that you also much needed. So WCCF Tech is talking about the auto plan videos, man. Come on. Luckily, I muted that tab. So you go up the top and you can mute the tab so it doesn't annoy the viewer's ears. So there's no auto. Even if something auto plays, it's not going to be a problem. But we got here RTX 4080s being listed for $1,200 US, the PNYs. So that's coming very soon. But again, with the RTX 4080, you've just got a significantly cut down card versus the 4090. And in fact, I think there was like this sheet that was done where it shows this time around with the RTX 40 or the 80 series card, it's the biggest cut down that Nvidia's ever done from like a 90 or a Titan series card to an 80 series card. It's just a huge cut down in CUDA cores. So I'm kind of a little bit like this one, I'm going into it like I think this is not going to be a great card. Like initial reactions with the 4080 just because of how much it's been sheerly cut down versus the 4090. So maybe the 4080 is used as a selling point for the 4090, but this sort of shows that it's coming up for sale. It'll be out pretty soon. The 4080 is coming out, and I'll hopefully be getting my hands on one. If I don't, I'll actually it'll be okay as well because I kind of do need a break from reviewing. And you guys want the used stuff as well. You guys want so much used tech, and we've got so much used tech in the recent parts on. We will be bringing that. But on some other news, AMD is coming out with a massive GPU. These are the specs that we know so far. The November 3, we'll probably be live streaming that just like we did the Nvidia launch event. But AMD is going to be announcing this GPU, and it's going to be glorious, right? Because it's going to be another GPU that's competing, hopefully. And again, people are giving me, okay, we got a $5 donation here for some pizza money. Thanks, dude. Love pizza as well. So, pizza's like my favorite shindig. Over in Japan, they got the teriyaki chicken pizza. I don't know if you guys had a teriyaki chicken pizza, but if you come to Japan, order a teriyaki chicken pizza. You will not be disappointed. So it's actually my son got me onto that one. And I was like, kids, what do you want for pizza on the Halloween party? And they're like, we want a teriyaki. They all just said teriyaki chicken pizza. I'm like, okay, there must be something good about this teriyaki chicken pizza. So it ended up being real good. So as well as the beer, the Asahi beer, and also the Kirin's pretty good too. There's good beers in Japan anyway. Rumored specs. Let's get on to the RX 7900 XTX. So they're going back with the XTX naming system. This is something that ATI did way back in the day. If you guys remember, XTX cards were released. The XTX cards were like the top tier. They were like the one to get. And I like it how AMD is releasing the cut down, sort of like the 7950 was, the 7900 was to the 7950. So already, if they release these two models, I like what AMD is doing, right? They're giving you that high-end card that's going to be priced really high, but then they're giving you that value one that's going to be similar performance, but hopefully doesn't come in with, like, it comes in with better value. So already from looking at the specs of the 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT, the 7900 XT is going to be the one to get on the high end. And now in terms of, sorry, voice a little bit croaked up from the weekend. In terms of the stream processors, we're going over this time around. We've got over double the stream processors versus a 6900 XT. So there's your stream processors right there. Now, of course, the architecture is going to be a bit of a shift up as well. Like the RTX 4090, they shift things up. They do create more of these stream processors that probably aren't as powerful per stream processor, but there's a lot more of them this time around. It's insane what they're packing into this card. They are coming all out. Like, if these specs are true, AMD is going to go all out in trying to get that, or at least get close to that RTX 4090 performance. Now, what price they do it at, I'm actually on the fence here. I mean, Nvidia did come in with the $1,600 price tag, so they're sort of setting the map, so to speak, on what the pricing will be around. I believe the 7900 XTX will come in at $1,499. I think that's where they're going to go with that. And then the 7900 XT, if they can get that in at $1,199, that's going to, I think that'll absolutely pound the RTX 4080. And that's sort of like where their market could be if on the high end. Of course, these prices are, I do remind you guys, these prices are ridiculously high to begin with. And also, Zalara, thank you for becoming a Tech Yes City supporter. I hope you're enjoying the tech news presented on Halloween special day here by Waldo. And yeah, Waldo eats pizza, Waldo does everything. I'll post up a Twitter photo lately of the, you know, we got the fam, we all dressed up as Wallies. So we were all Wallies, and one day we'll do a Tech Yes City party as well, and everyone can just come as Wally. And then you're like, who's the real Wally, right? Now, I used to love Where's Wally when I was a kid. I used to get the little book, and I'd be like, where's Wally? Everyone's looking for Wally. It's so much fun, man. How simple, so how fun some simple things can be. Anyway, guys, 7900 XTX and XT news looks like it's going to be a really big, hard-hitting GPU from AMD. I cannot wait for the announcement. I want to see what they're doing, especially with the pricing. I want to see what they're doing with the performance too. I want to see what they've got here, because even though AM5, even though Ryzen 7000 series CPUs did deliver, the pricing didn't with the motherboards. The motherboards was huge to stomach. Now, one thing I'll talk about with Ryzen 5000 series going in was I was just kind of like surprised here, because so basically what happened was I was looking on the parts hunt on the weekend. And sorry, the chat's getting crazy. You guys, I can't even keep up with chat anymore. I'm like looking at chat, like it's starting to go crazy. What we saw was on the weekend, I saw a B660M motherboard coming in. Like I was looking in the store, the cheapest B650, right? AM5, the cheapest B650. I think it was like from MSI or ASRock. One of them had the cheapest B650. It was over 250 bucks. And then I'm looking at the cheapest B660. That's coming in at 120 bucks. And then I'm looking at the cheapest B550. That's coming in at like $70. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, Intel's got that little bit of a premium over the B550, which was excellent value. But then AMD's just got their B650 over double the price of the Intel motherboard. And it's like when you just break it up, right? Someone putting together their brand new PC build, they're going to see that motherboard costs. And they're just going to be like, for me, I was just so deterred when I saw that at the stores. Like people are shopping at the stores, or whether they're shopping online, they're going to see this double cost of a B650 versus a B660. And they're automatically going to be like, okay, what's the performance like? Going to check the performance of the CPUs, especially if they're looking at a 7600X. They're going to see the 13600K like kicking it to the curb, especially in productivity. Then they're going to go with Intel. But then if they look at the 5800X3D, for example, in the gaming benchmark numbers, they're going to see that price of the B550 motherboard, and they're going to think, well, that's a no-brainer. So, I mean, like, I hope AMD does cut the prices and they get the pricing right with their new GPUs. I guess where all this is going is I hope AMD gets it right with their pricing on the 7900 XTX and also the 7900 XT. They need to get the pricing right. I feel like with the Ryzen 7000, the pricing of the CPUs was right, but the pricing of the motherboards were just way out of there. And so that's where they missed the mark. So there it is. Great specs. I'm really looking forward to this launch. I think it's going to be amazing that AMD's coming in, and they look like they got a generation of GPUs that's going to be yet again very competitive with Nvidia, because Ryzen's RX 6000 was super competitive. Really like that where that was coming from. But we'll move over to chat very soon, guys. We got the last topic up here. This is what we hinted at in the intro of the live stream. This one was actually back to Intel's financials. Terrible numbers from Intel. They've reported their financial numbers down 20% year over year. The most important figure to look at, right? So as soon as you get that 20% year over year figure, it is the most important to look at. And the reason being is because it was the same season this year as it is last year. So they're down 20% year over year. Now, the biggest danger here is, the biggest danger for Intel, and not just Intel, this is what we're going to sort of say right here about the financials, is it's affecting AMD and Nvidia just as much. It's forcing these companies to, I feel, rush things out, get things rushed out, and maybe get a little bit miscalculate with pricing and everything. But the bottom line is, what we had here was inflation really eating into these numbers, right? So if you're down 20% year over year, and then the real inflation numbers, let's be honest, the real inflation numbers are well over 15%. They're saying it's 8% or 9%, 15% inflation, right? Your business in 1 year, when you really look at it, could be down 40%. I mean, that's huge, right? If you're coupling in the inflation with the 20% just raw numbers, you've got a business that is just suffering. Intel is suffering. And every quarter after that, the inflation stays high, the sales go down. You've got to start looking at, okay, the volumes of products. How many CPUs are they actually selling now? Because you might see that then that 40% number is the real figure, right? Actual units shipped, so actual CPUs. 13600Ks versus last year 12600Ks. Even though 13600K is much better value, you probably might find that they might ship or sell 40% less of these CPUs. So I'm going to try and track as much data as I can in the actual raw product volumes that are selling here, but it doesn't look good. And now we're going to go to a question that I got asked, and I'll go into this in the live stream here because it's actually kind of a big talking point. And everyone, Wally, should we buy the dip? At the moment, no. You should buy the dip if the Fed pivots. So if the Fed starts printing more money, you want to just get rid of all your money then, because money's going to become useless. If they start the printers back up like they did in 2020, 2021, if the printers go galore, what's going to happen is you're going to have an inflation economy where bad businesses get rewarded. People are just looking to get rid of their money because the value of that money is going down so fast. So what they worked for has no meaning. What they worked for has no value. And so people just go out and spend the money. Reward businesses, it doesn't matter. Metals will go through the roof. So if the Fed pivots, silver, platinum, gold, those prices are just going sky high. You'll probably see Bitcoin as well go up as well, but just depends, right? Which way is that going to go? If they keep tightening and interest rates keep going up, and then banks, and this is the biggest thing, banks start going under, which I think we're on the verge of a major bank collapsing. I think it's going to be like 2008 playbook all over again. I think you're going to have some banks collapse, and then they'll come in and pivot, and they'll say, all right, we've got to start the printers up again. So that's what I think is going to happen again. But when that happens, when that pivot happens, that's when you can go out and buy the dip. So until then, I mean, it might not happen. Who knows? The inflation's really high. This time around, inflation is much higher than it was in 2008. And so they have to, as a central bank, they have to fight that no matter what. Otherwise, they're not doing their job. They're breaking their mandate. So in Australia, you're going to see Australia. Inflation just came out. Numbers were horrible. Like if you're in Australia and you've got a house and you've got a mortgage on that house and it's huge and you're on an adjustable rate, you're going to be sweating now because those inflation numbers just went up. Heaps, big time. So the central bank's going to have to react to that in Australia. The Reserve Bank of Australia is going to have to start printing a lot more money. And what that means is people, like houses, will have to come on the market because people can't afford those mortgages because they've just gone up so quickly, the interest rates. So we've got a donation here as well from Titan FX. Is that Indian Rupees IDR? Morning, mate. With AMD cutting AM4 prices lately, should I upgrade my 3600 to 5700X? 5700X, since the price is quite attractive now. Thanks, mate. Yes, you should. I'm going to be just straight up blunt with you. I feel you should. And the market, at least in Japan, look, I consider the Japanese market when it comes to sales and data very smart. I think this is a smart market, right? Except for the 13600K. I don't think that many people should be buying that. Sorry, look at this 5700X. I think it's the number 1 or 2 selling CPU. It's like, yeah, number 2 selling CPU in Japan right now is the 5700X. In other words, the market is buying this CPU. It's a fantastic price. Even though it's not AM5, it's a great buy right now. So 5700X, Wally gives it the approval today. So it gets the approval from Wally, and it's a great price. So anyway, back to Intel, AMD, and Nvidia before we go to questions. I got asked this question, and it was, okay, going through 2020 and 2021, should have AMD and Intel and Nvidia done anything differently? And when you look at it, I had to brainstorm on this question because the answer would be actually, unfortunately, no. Because these companies are beholden, and this is what I mean, we're all beholden to central banks now and government spending. And this is the problem. The biggest problem here is the central banks and governments. Now, if you look at AMD and Intel and Nvidia, through the last 2 years, if they had not sold as much stuff as they could, what are they going to tell the viewer? What are they going to tell the audience or tell their customers? Oh, guys, just save that money. Just hold that money and buy something off us later, right? So our financials might not be as good now, but just hold out and buy later. You're telling someone who got given a stimulus check to save that money when the competitor's selling something shiny, brand new. You've got guys like us on YouTube saying, hey, here's this new product. It's got good performance. And then you're seeing all these games come up. Of course, man, all these new games coming out, people are just going to go buy that and just go spend that money straight away. Beholden. So this is what I mean. AMD, Nvidia, and Intel, they're all beholden to the current conditions that surround the economy produced by the central bank and produced by governments. And so if the governments are printing money and just giving it to people, of course these three companies are going to want to take as much as they can. And so they're just they're just reacting to the market. And so to be honest, they played things perfectly, but now we're seeing the aftermath of this, right? This is what happens when the punch bowl gets taken away. Everyone's drunk on cheap money, but during that stage, inflation creeps up. And this time around, it creeped up way too much because you didn't have enough production to match all that new money. So prices started going up. They have to tighten that because it just disrupts business in an unimaginable way, right? It puts out all these contracts. It does. Inflation is so destructive, especially when it's really high. It makes instability in markets, right? That's why they call it price stability. Creates so much instability in markets. And so you've got to eliminate that. As soon as it starts creeping up, you've got to eliminate that as soon as possible. So now they're going all the other way. They're cutting spending. Central banks stop the printers. Interest rates are going up. And this has caused the opposite effect for people who want to go out and buy a graphics card, a CPU, or a brand new PC. And so Nvidia and AMD and Intel, they're just feeling that now. And so what they've got to do, the only way they can get through these times is essentially provide better competition. They've got to outcompete. So if you're Nvidia right now, how do you do that? Release a GPU with twice the performance as the 3090. So that's why these conditions right now, although a lot of people are going to be doing it tough, innovation's going to come out of it. When you've got we don't have proper sound money at this point in time, but if you stop printing money, it's at least going to make money more sound, right? Money's going to be more scarce. Money itself is going to be more sound. So people are going to use that money and actually rely on it and want to go out and work for that money. So we need sound money and stop the printers. There it is. Stop the printers. And in that time span, we'll get much more innovation out of these companies instead of just giving people money, paychecks, and then just going out and spending it straight away and rewarding companies that don't give you innovation. So that's the whole crux there. Could have AMD and Nvidia and Intel done anything differently? Not really. In hindsight, they're beholden, just like we all are at the moment, to central banks and governments. So just chained, shackled. So there it is, fellas. I mean, probably not the news you're looking for, but that was the question that someone in the comments really wanted me to look into. So I was like sleeping on that one last night, and I was like, yeah, unfortunately, nope. So $2 donation from Zolaris. Central banks are bad news always. Yeah, nowadays I think they've got a bias, and they got a bias towards printing money, because a lot of those people who work at those reserve banks have in Australia. This was back in the 1980s, right? This is a story. It's a story, right? I can't quantify this, but the people who worked at the central banks, they all had massive mortgages on homes. So there's a bias there, right? They want to print money. They want to create inflation so that the values of their mortgages become dwindled away. And so they got a house at the end of it all. So yeah, it's always, if you look at history, there's always this bias in favor of inflation. The problem is when it gets too much, you have to tame it. Otherwise, it just really ruins the whole economy. So we got $5 donation. So we'll move over to Q&A now, guys. Ask any questions. If you want to look for any questions, jump in in the comments. We are answering. We are going full throttle. Wally is going to give you guys as much tech info in this Q&A as possible. And thanks for the $5 donation from Amar Matteotti. He says, hello from California. Hello there. When will you be on the Technomics podcast? Also, you should do a live stream with Hardware Unboxed. In terms of the Technomics podcast, I do want to get on there. The boys, they're always fun to hang around with and talk stuff about. I've just been so bogged down this last 2 months. Ever since the 7900X came through, 7950X, sorry. It was just like testing, and it was beta testing as well. That was the thing. It was beta testing. Look at now, like look at GN for example. They're beta testing for the public. Beta testing. That's what like tech reviewers have now become public beta testers. So it's actually pretty intense right now. But I've still got some motherboards to get through. So I've got to take a look at B650, Z790, and also X670, which X670 I should have done that a long time ago, but I never got around to it. So I was thinking to myself, whoa, okay, I got a backlog here and I've got to take care of sort of these people that sent the products over. I've got to do these videos. So that's something I always, when people send me stuff over, I always say, look, I'll do a review for you. I'll get it done. So I got to do that. So yeah. In terms of, sorry, I said take care. I was like, yeah, I'm going to give you a favorable review. No, definitely not. I'm going to, of course, X670 is going to be the worst because the price. That's going to be terrible. X670 is going to be a hard, like, how do I basically say, okay, these boards aren't good value? I mean, yeah, anyway, X670 is going to be bad. I feel sorry for it. But even B650, actually, we'll show you guys what we got. We got this one. ASRock have kind of done something different. They're like, hey, if you're going to be paying extra money for a motherboard, you might as well get a really cool design. So we got the live mixer. This is going to be like a paintball inspired motherboard. So we got that coming. But after that, I will be jumping on live streams. Hardware Unboxed, I haven't spoken to them directly for a while. I mean, yeah, I'd do a live stream with Steve if you guys really wanted me to. We haven't. I do give you guys a warning on this live stream. I have argued with Steve from Hardware Unboxed quite a bit on numerous topics, and so perhaps Steve wouldn't want to live stream with me. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he's uncomfortable just going at it. If we have a disagreement, we will go at it, both of us. And you've probably witnessed that on Twitter if you guys have seen us going back and forth. Not to say that either one is definitively wrong, but I don't think maybe Steve's not comfortable if we get into a situation where we disagree and we start getting passionate. Because one thing about Steve, he's passionate about his tech, he's passionate about his opinions. Same here, I'm passionate about my tech and passionate about my opinions, and they always collide. So with Hardware Unboxed, I think it'd be a good live stream if you guys didn't mind us just going at it. I mean, we're both Aussies, so we're used to it. So hey, Jeff Wayne, $10. Thank you, brother. Missing Australia. Been loving your videos for a long time. Thanks, brother. Yeah, of course. I love, this is the thing. I love Japan. I love Australia. Both of these places are amazing countries. Both got fantastic, just fantastic cultures. Good things about them. Obviously, bad things about them too. But yeah, I miss Oz a lot. I miss especially family and friends. So I am looking to come back and bring back a lot of used parts with us as well. So that'd be awesome. And $2 donation from Commodore Fan 64. Thank you, brother. Intel Arc good on Linux or go all AMD? Linux is AMD drivers. Yeah, the AMD GPU, I just go all AMD. I wouldn't be risking Intel Arc on Linux, at least from what I know. Intel, I haven't even been able to get my hands on an Intel Arc GPU. I asked Intel, I was like, hey, could I get one? Even if I don't care, I'll pay for it. I just really want to get my hands on it because I can't get any stock here in Japan. So I think it was more like a USA only thing. So I'd love to hear Steve say what's crack-a-lackin'. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you can say what's crack-a-lackin'. Wouldn't the X670 boards age better with PCIe 5.0 slots? I mean, I'm going to be doing a video with PCIe 3.0 versus 4.0 with the 4090. I think that's going to be really relevant because I think for the majority of gamers, PCIe 5 is like 5 years from becoming relevant. PCIe 3 is still relevant after all this time. PCIe 4 is going to be relevant for so long as well. I think the PCIe 5 thing at this point in time, I wouldn't be buying a motherboard for PCIe Gen 5, even though I'm a even though I do video editing and I could benefit from those faster SSD speeds. The bottom line is I'd be worried having a PCIe Gen 5 SSD in my motherboard because the thing would run so hot. For instance, if you don't run a PCIe Gen 4 SSD with a heatsink on, it is going to drop out. It is gone. There's your SSD. It is going to just die pretty quickly. So if you see videos where people are like, oh, my Gen 4 SSD, PCIe Gen 4 SSD died, I got no idea, guys, it's a faulty drive, and they got no heatsink on it, probably that dude destroyed that PCIe Gen 4 drive. So that's just a heads up there. So PCIe Gen 5 SSDs, I would only imagine those things would be extremely hot, and I wouldn't be comfortable running a Gen 5 SSD in my system at this point in time. In terms of a Gen 5 graphics card, man, like, hey, when's that coming out? I'm not, you know, I don't have Jedi Force future. Oh, is it the Sith? Is it the Sith that predict the future? I think it's the Sith. I don't have Sith powers like on that level. I do have Sith powers, but they're not that great. So, Zellara, $5 donation on the inflation thing. Got a big raise beginning of last year. Didn't even get a chance to enjoy. Inflation went fire up and overtook it. Yeah, so you're getting these pay rises, and inflation's just eating it all out at the moment. So it's really at this point in time, it's inflation's just a game of catch up. Where if you guys look at the Cantillon effect, I got these GPUs up here actually. They're very juicy. 1660 Super. Is it the I forgot how to spell it. Cantillon effect. Basically, those who borrow first win, especially if they know that massive amounts of borrowing is coming after it. So that's the gist of the Cantillon effect, if you want to break it down and what it's all about. But yeah, those like us who are just get employed or make money from working, we get screwed over by the Cantillon effect and what inflation does, right? You get the pay rise, but you're really just playing catch up. So what you want is no inflation. So, and do you think we should be fearing deflation? Absolutely not. Deflation creates innovation. Don't be led to think that deflation's a bad thing. For instance, Toyota in Japan, they're talking about flying cars, like actually making flying cars now. And they're teaming up with UFJ, the bank they're making the 3D maps. They're already making the technology to 3D map the navigation space in the skies. So deflation is something you shouldn't fear. But central banks and governments and then all those news outlets think that deflation's this horrible thing. No, deflation creates innovation because it forces people to spend it. Well, if you want to be up with the times, you want something that's going to better your lifestyle, of course you're going to go spend your money. So I know I would. If there's nothing worth spending your money on, then yeah, why spend it, right? Let's get innovative, as humans have always been good at innovating. So anyway, we got Titan FX, Indian rupees. Thanks for the answer, Brian. I'll get the 5700X. Yep, you won't be disappointed. Great CPU too. Juan from Canadian $2. Thanks, brother. 13600K or 5800X3D or something else for a new build. Do you need productivity? If you need some productivity, get the 13600K. If you're just going straight up gaming, I'd probably go with the 5800X3D, especially with the price cuts. So depends on what you're doing. I'd look at the situation, but if you're just gaming, 5800X3D is going to be amazing. Does Japanese society feel more strict than Australia in terms of what's acceptable in public? I mean, Japanese society just doesn't have as many clowns running around like in public. You know, in Australia, you just got a lot of uncouth, like, kiddos running around. Japan, you don't see it. Like, the culture, I prefer it in Japan. Like, walking out in the streets here, you don't have to worry about some dude just randomly yelling. You know, you might have a group of teenagers, 6 of them, that are just looking for trouble in Australia, and they just start yelling at people. You don't get that in Japan. Even if they are a group of teenagers, they mind their own business, or they fight with each other. So in Australia, you get the spillover. So I prefer it. So, but there is a stricter cultural expectation in Japan, definitely, versus Australia, for instance. But I mean, both have their good points and bad points. I love both countries. I just think in Australia, you definitely have to be more street smart. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely have to be more street smart in Australia if you're going out a lot. Take a city. Hello from Canada. Upgrading my 2700X X470 with a 2080 to an X3D and want to make a GPU upgrade, but limited to PCIe 3. Planning to game high refresh 1080p. Thoughts while streaming? Okay, with a 2080. So you want to upgrade the 2080? The 2080 is good, man. For 1080p, a 2080 is good. I don't think you need to upgrade the 2080. I think it's a great... yeah, I think it's a great GPU for 1080p, and it's a great price if you want to go get one. But I mean, upgrade would be like 3080. 3080 would probably be your... Because 3060 Ti is not that big over a 2080, so yeah. Running 2 NVMe Sabrant rockets and 2 terabyte SK Hynix, both of them air cooled. They run 7 to 10 degrees cooler. Okay, yep. If you went dressed out like that, you'd be the weird kid, Brian. Yeah, so I did go out dressed like this in Japan. Like Halloween's really cool here. Everyone goes out dressed up, so it's a lot of fun. So I heard in Japan you line up for everything. Yeah, you do. Like, it's called a queue, man. It's it's not like this magical concept of a queue. In Japan, they adhere to it, so it's like a queue's a good thing. Yeah, queuing ups, it's a good system. It does work. So anyway, how many karate fights have you been in with the Yakuza? None. I actually don't think, off the top of my head, I have not been into any real trouble in Japan. When I was here, like in 2010, when I first came here, out in Tokyo, partying with friends, I might have got into a few shoves with people, but that was just, you know, being idiots in Japan, in Tokyo. So, I mean, in the party scene in Tokyo, you might get some trouble, but even then, foreigners are very, like, you won't be seeing someone throw a punch in Tokyo because the consequences of that are extremely bad. Like, you'll get deported. So, especially if you get into a fight with a Japanese person, yeah, don't even bother, because you'll probably be deported in an instant unless you got video proof that you weren't the one instigating it. So yeah, like, I mean, I got into some scuffles where you're just pushing and then you're like, nah, not worth it. But that was just when I was young, 20s, so that wasn't really something. But in Australia, like, damn, man, it's just all on. Like, nowadays I think it's terrible, some of the street fights that go on in Australia, man. Like, you hear about the teenagers at school, like, literally like going that next level and killing people, man. It's bad. Some of the street fights I heard about in the Gold Coast as well at schools. You know, I heard some like 16-year-old kid last year got killed. I was like, what's the point? Like, what is that? Why is this happening? Never happened when I was a kid, man. All you did was you just got knocked out, and then even the dude who knocked you out would like shake your hand and pick you back up and be like, "You're all good, bro?" You're like, "Yeah, sweet, man. We just sorted our drama out, sorted our problems out, and now we're good to go." The Korean tragedy over 150. Yeah, I heard about that, man. Oh no, that was terrible. Yeah. So, yeah, the Korean tragedy was sad, man. That's yeah, so like, and avoidable, of course, as well. That's the saddest thing as well. Easily avoidable. So it was just sad to hear about the Korean thing, eh? Just people just getting way too excited in a small enclosed area. And so why they did it was apparently there was, I don't know if this is 100%, allegedly there was a celebrity close by, and everyone's like, "There's that celebrity," and they all want to see it. They're all just rushing, like, and it was just a stampede. That's what caused the stampede. So yeah, Halloween's huge in Japan, Australia. I mean, sorry, it's not huge in Australia. It's very huge in Japan and Korea, South Korea. The street partying is awesome, but in this case, it sounded like in South Korea, the street partying was too many people. So it was just, apparently you couldn't move, and then you had a celebrity nearby, and people were like, "Oh my God, there's that celebrity," and they're all rushing over to the celebrity. So it was really sad. Like, it was just, yeah, just pointless. It was just, anyway. Yeah, I like, it's just like, I don't know how to talk about that. You know, how do you sort of, what comes out of it? Nothing good comes out of that. So yeah, stampede for a celebrity and they kill it. Well, apparently there was just so many people, right? There was apparently so many people, and it was like a domino effect, right? I think maybe the hill, like there was a slight, like you're going down a hill a little bit, and so you got the people up the top rushing, and then everyone's just like, everyone's crushing each other as you go down. And I mean, dude, if you get like 4 bodies on top of you, you're gonna get crushed, right? That's 200 kilos of pressure on you. You're gonna like, that's what happened. A lot of people just got crushed. So it was but terrible, man. And you're like, how does that happen? Well, it happens when there's too many people. That's all. So there was just too many people in that small area. So there should have been definitely some better crowd control. That's for sure. It was sad. It was really sad to hear. So $5 donation from MC88DX. Thanks, brother. And what's the best spec gaming PC you'd build where you wouldn't notice the room getting water? Possible. My 12700K 3080 Ti made my room an oven in summer. Yeah, we're going to touch on this because I think this is like a huge thing, right? As you need more, as you higher the graphical settings and as you need more power, you're going to use more power from the wall. So the first thing you can do, I guarantee you, man, I could get that 12700K and 3080 Ti. I could undervolt them both and then cap the frames on your monitor. Like, guys, go into the Nvidia control panel and cap your frames on your monitor. Otherwise, past that, you're really just wasting electricity. I mean, yes, if you're a pro competitive player playing for like serious money, take off the cap and get the fastest latency possible. But you can be pro even then. You could play at pro level and get to those tournaments with a frame cap. So cap your frames, undervolt your GPU and CPU, and then watch your power consumption after that. I guarantee you'll drop it, if not by half. So that's the, sorry, throat's going crazy on this live stream. Where's Waldo? Where's Brian? Yeah, so I'm here, brothers. I'm here. Waldo's giving you the tech news. But you've got to undervolt, and especially if electricity is going up in your area, make sure you cap your frames as well. And so that's why I was saying the RTX 4090, I'm playing Dota 2 at 4K, max settings, max everything. It looks beautiful, and I'm using under 200 watts from the wall. So that's not going to heat up a room at all in winter. So yeah, there you go. Undervolt, brothers. Undervolt is the power of undervolting and frame capping. I'm going to make a dedicated video on it because I think it's so important to do. So ditch the guy stating nothing was wrong with what happened. Yeah, I mean, like, I can't find, I mean, maybe the moderator, if Yusuf or Marco's here, they can just give him a timeout or whatever, shadow ban them. I mean, yeah, it's like, there's one thing I don't laugh about, man, is tragedies, and when lives have been lost, it's just, we're gonna move on. We're gonna get back to tech. So at the moment, I've got a 4K OLED, so we cap the frames at 135 FPS. So it's 138 Hertz, and we cap it at 135. So the reason you want to cap it a little bit below it is because sometimes it'll overshoot, right? And if you've got that G-Sync enabled, if you've got the frame sync enabled, you get the frame sync enabled, then it'll overshoot to 136, 137. It's not going to break your G-Sync or your FreeSync. So that's the idea with capping it just a little bit lower than your high refresh rate monitor. So yeah, you guys have found Wally. He's given you a live stream. But let's go over, like, look at this right now. GPU prices, you're probably staring at this. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. The last thing we'll talk about in today's live stream is do not be afraid to pick up cheap GPUs. The $100 price point, right? 1660 Supers. Once these things are all sold up at $100, they're not coming back in at $100. We're seeing where the GPU market is moving. I'd say a lot of that's especially due to inflation. It's not profitable for GPU companies, especially to the end retailer. Everything involved in getting that card manufactured to the end retailer, it's not profitable to produce a $100 GPU. Even a $200 GPU is asking for it now. So what you're seeing is this shift towards $300 GPUs. RTX 3050s going up to $300. And so getting a GPU for $100 is always going to be a good thing. So don't be afraid. If you see a deal on a 1660 Super and you've checked it out, it works. We also got another video coming on that too. Another video coming on picking out crypto cards, because we got some amazing footage in Tokyo on the weekend, right? On the Friday. Sorry, not the weekend. We got some amazing footage of looking at some of those cards. And one of those cards was just, I would not buy it at all. It was just look toast. And so it'd be good for it to show people, hey, if you're getting a GPU on the internet, make sure you got good photos. Like, let's check out the photos of this. I'd say, look, man, can I get a close-up of this card? But yeah, but even then, it's just got dust. You can see inside, if we look closely, we can see inside the heat sinks. There's no rust on that, so there's no rust on the PCIe finger. And that would be a buy. For me, that 1660 Super, that would be a buy. If I could pick that up under $100, that's a strike price right there. So that's a bit of live deals hunting for you guys too. So, but if this had all rust on it, if it was all rusty and everything like that, it'd be a no-go. So yeah, but I'm just showing you guys right now. Like, this is even on eBay, man. eBay's like, if you're looking for deals on GPUs, eBay is not even the go. I mean, I wonder if this guy's selling 4 of them. 1 each. No, so that's too high. It's like, you got to come down on price there, brother, because other people are letting them go for $100. But even if you look at sold items, right? If you look at sold items, this is what they're going for. This is what 1660s are going for. $100. Some dude got one for $100. And this guy timed it right, even on eBay. And he picked up an absolute deal. So the photos looks pretty good to me. Again, looking at the card, doesn't look like there's any, yeah, that heat pipe there looks pretty good. So it doesn't look like it's rusted or anything like that. So there are deals to be had at the moment on GPUs. Some of my favorite cards, I did mention them. I did mention some of my favorite cards in a recent top 7 GPUs deals video. So I'll put that in the description after the live stream's over. And also, we got $2 donation from Commodore Fan 64. Thanks, brother. Thoughts on Steam Deck as PC alternative? Not for me, man. I can't do an alternative. Like, for me, a desktop PC, there's no alternative. Like, you're asking a guy who edits 4K videos, power edits them, right? Like, we're dumping footage in, we're clicking, we're smashing. We got fingertip grip, smashing that through, click, click, clickety, click, click, click. And I'm just going at 100 miles an hour when I edit videos. So I'll notice, that's what I mean. When I recommend CPUs, guys, you're not getting a recommendation that's half-hearted. You're getting one that's been, you know, thrashed. Like if you would give the car analogy, right? You're getting the guy who's gone into the car, taken that thing around the track and then some, maybe even done a burnout in it. And I'm telling you how it performs. And so there it is, right? There'd be no alternative for me personally. So, but if you wanted an alternative in terms of you're just gaming at 1080p and that thing hooks up to a monitor and you can hook up a keyboard and mouse to it as well, maybe can the Steam Deck be hooked up via a hub, USB hub? Because that'd be pretty cool. And you could hook up and maybe it would be okay especially if you're casual gaming. So, but for me personally, I couldn't do it, brothers. But yeah, you guys in the comments know what's up. RX 6600 at the moment. Yep, king. It's the king of just in general. If you want to go to GPU, no hassles, no headaches, it's the one to get. So Steam Deck is basically a 5600 GPC. Would be okay to edit videos, but at 1080p. Yeah, Flynn, you're right on the money, man. That's pretty much it. So yeah. And Steam Deck's pretty good for gaming, yeah. But I couldn't do the Steam Dock. Yeah, the Steam Dock. Steam Deck, Steam Dock. So the Steam Dock, that'd be good. Do we get the Steam Dock? So remember that the RX 5600 XT was way stronger and sold for $280 2 years ago. So yeah, the RX 5600 XT was a good card. So the RX 6600 now at $200 and under $200, you can pick it up brand new. The RX 6600M, you can get that off AliExpress, $175 shipped. Like, it's a great time to be buying GPUs. And this is what we were saying. Like, I mean, I haven't had any dudes in the comments anymore. There's been no guys. Like, I'm actually sad because back last year when I was saying this stuff on the live stream, I said, don't worry, guys, prices will get better. I was getting, you know, the crypto bros were coming in. They were hammering me. They're like, you're a fool, man. GPU prices are staying high forever. This is the new normal. And I'm like, just wait, right? Just wait. And I got to talk to Manny. I don't know which live stream I said it, but I said it in a video. I was like, Manny, sell your Vega 64 and just hold on to your $600 US, and you'll be able to upgrade to the latest and greatest for free. So if Manny had sold his Vega 64 for $600 USD at that time, and then held on to that 600, he could get a 6900 XT now. Like, that's just what I call brilliant hustling, right? So yeah. Now I don't see one comment about, oh man, the GPU prices are going to remain high because they've crashed. So there we go. Man, timing is everything. And that's one thing that's coming out of this is that, you know, you're going to hear from a lot of guru investors. They're like, don't try and time the market. And it's like, well, timing is everything. It's already been proven in the recent couple of years. It's just, I guess, the conditions pre-2020 were that you didn't need to time the market because the markets only ever went up. Now we're going into a different era. So anyway, guys, we're going to be timing a lot of things at Tech Yes City. We're going to be timing that used build very soon. So do stay tuned for it. And we're also going to be winding winding down the live stream as well. So if you've got any pressing questions and you're coming in and you've got some hot questions you need answered, then do drop them in. Wally's going to get on out of here soon. I'm going to go get some lunch. And Cyrus, he donates a $5 New Zealand. You're a fool, man. GPU prices are staying high forever. This is the new normal. These $100 for a 1660 Super, man. That is extremely high, and they're staying high forever. I hope. This is a scary thing, though. These cheaper GPUs, when you're looking at 5600 XTs and 1660 Supers, these are the cards that are not going to stay 100 USD forever. These will run out. When these run out, you're unfortunately going to be left with a market on the new side that is only going to focus on $300 plus cards. And that's the new reality. That is a scary new reality brought on about by inflation, right? Because it's just not really worth these companies to churn out GPUs cheaper than that. And so this is what I'm saying. With the RX 6600 under $200, AMD does not want to produce this card. There's no incentive for them to produce this card. So, Take City, you enjoying Japan, lad? Loving it, man. Loving it. It's really good. So it's been good for me to get my mojo back this year. It's been taking a while as well because I've had to learn, like I've had to relearn a lot of things. Like again, admittedly in the last 2 years was just a crazy time because I've had to re-educate myself about finance, which I've learned a lot down that journey. If you guys want a great starting point, there's a YouTube channel called George Gammon. Great starting point to get educated on finance. I love that guy's channel. And he just tries to bring different opinions in and give you guys, let you make up your own mind about where this economy is going. But I've had to re-educate myself on finance. I've missed my little boy so much. There was a lot of stuff that was going on personally, which we're finally all conquering now. So what you're going to get, the shenanigans are coming back. We're going to have all those, I'm even thinking about doing a bit of a jungle intro for the budget PC coming up. So that'll be awesome. Hey, Brian, are you planning your next Tokyo visit? Any chance you'll get that beer you mentioned in the video? Yeah, sure. I mean, I would like to plan a Tokyo meetup. So I'll let you guys know on Twitter and we'll perhaps have a Tokyo meetup and have some beers. That would be amazing if you guys are in Japan. But I'll let you guys know. Again, I can't promise anything at the moment. I don't know what's happening exactly in the next couple of months. I just know that I do have to get back to Australia. Like, actually have to get back due to some things. So, you seen any RX 6800 XT ASRock Taichis? For some reason, they're all sold in Japan, primarily for some reason. Yeah. So ASRock actually has really good agreements with Taiwan. Like, the one thing you'll see in Japan is there's a lot of Taiwanese products that maybe don't get released in US as well. The reason being, Japan actually used to control Taiwan back in history. So there's still a lot of links there between the two countries. And ASRock, just for some reason, they love like connecting with the Japanese retailers, and they sell a lot of products that don't get sold in the US, for example. For instance, I showed some footage of all the desk minis and everything were on the shelves in stock in Japan, but those things are generally like, they don't hit, a lot of those models don't hit the shelves in America. So yeah, the ASRock stuff is sold in Japan, but some of it doesn't get sold in America. So the Taichi cards as well, the 6800 XTs are really good. So yeah, but I mean, in terms of, I can ask ASRock, I'm like, hey, why are you doing that? So get them into the US. Maybe the return policies or something are terrible in the US. I don't know. Like, are you hearing that stuff on Newegg? Like when you hear people getting graphics cards and then putting like rocks in the boxes and stuff, man, that's got to be tough as a retailer if you're the middleman stuck in that, eh? Take Care City, when are the miners going to start selling the Copium of X Strong? Yeah, so the miners are selling right now. It's dumping. At least in Japan, cards are dumping. Absolutely dumping right now, guys. So cards are getting dumped in Japan. You'll see the same thing start to happen all over the world. People in Europe are telling me cards in Europe are getting dumped right now as well. I just noticed in Japan in the last 2 months, there's some big crypto mining farms that have been dumping graphics cards. Hence why I was picking out the cream of the crop this month. So are you planning going back to Japan next year? Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm planning on being in between both Japan and Australia to give you guys the reason, of course, the top reason is going to be a balance of content for you guys. I'll just use that as the excuse. But yeah, I do plan on being active in both countries. I love them both, man. I've come to realize that I love them both. They've both got just amazing things going on for both of them. Australia, especially where I'm from in Queensland, you've got the Bogan. People laugh at the Bogan, but I love the Bogan. The Bogan is so awesome. Like, that attitude can be just refreshing sometimes, as opposed to Japan, right? If I'm 10 minutes late, I go somewhere 10 minutes late, everyone's frowning upon me. In Australia, right, I rock up somewhere 15 minutes late, everyone's like, hey man, what's going on? Like, it's just like normal in Queensland to be late. Like, it's just the normal thing. And so it's hard for me to adjust those different cultural aspects. Where, you know, in Japan, if I rock up late, everyone's frowning upon me. But then in Australia, like, you rock up late, you're cheered. It's like, it's the norm. So we got here 11, is that the doubles a euro? So 11.99 euro, 13600K DDR4 or X3D DDR4 for 1080p gaming. What is the best choice for gaming? So just gaming, I mean, the X3D is going to be cheaper right now, actually, because they've just brought down the prices of the X3D. And the B550 is going to be cheaper than the B660, so that would be the best and the best choice. Yeah, it'd be it's a good choice for gaming. So it gets the slight victory. If you are doing anything productivity or you want to entertain that idea, I would go for the 13600K. So there's the choice there. So just gaming though, 5800 X3D. And thanks for the euro donation, my man. Okay, so. Is Smart Access Memory worth to decide to build an all AMD PC? Smart Access Memory is pretty good, man. Depends on the game. Like, if you're playing one game a lot and that game benefits from Smart Access Memory a lot, that could be the winning factor. So there's so many factors when it comes to looking at a PC. For instance, I played Dota 2 and Apex Legends. Both of those games don't really benefit from Smart Access Memory whatsoever. So if I'm looking to build a PC, I don't really care. I'm just looking for pure price performance because those two games are all I play. And so that's, it depends on the games you play. And when it comes to playing new games, man, I gotta like, if you guys have any new game recommendations, like let me know. I mean, Stray looked really good, but here's the thing, like I know this might be unpopular, but with Stray, I was like, why do I want to play a game being a cat? When, like, literally, I've got the street neckos. If you guys don't know what the street necko is, they are the cat that just runs around the street and they're very friendly. The street neckos, they're amazing. I'll just go pat a street necko locally here. Maybe even give them a bit of chicken that I got from the convenience store. And that street necko, it's just going to be a better experience, I think, than playing a game being a cat. So, kind of a difference of opinion there. But if there's any new games that are like awesome, let us know in the comment section. I'll have to check them out. I'm waiting for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm waiting for them to release the next chapters that'll seem like they'll never come. So I'm upset about that. And then we've got Star Citizen, right? When's Star Citizen going to be released? In the year 2100. So is Sam, yeah, so Smart Access Memory can be definitely worth it. Which card for 1440p 2K in gaming? Which card? Ugh, which card would you do for that? I mean, high refresh rate, high settings would be 3080 or 6700 XT would be great for max settings and max refresh rate on a lot of high refresh rate 1440p. Just 60 hertz 1440p gaming, man, you get away with like a 5600 XT, maybe even 5700 XT. So yeah, depends on what your goals are, my man. Commodore 64, $2 donation. Thanks for that. Thoughts on ARM on desktop, laptop taking over? Yeah, definitely, man. There's a trend going through the market with x86, right? ARM. This is why Nvidia wanted to take over ARM because of the future that it holds, right? Big, little. That was the thing that came from ARM. And it's basically competing in the server and data center so hard that x86, Intel and AMD are sweating right now because it's taking away their market share. And that's why Nvidia really wanted to acquire ARM so they could just control the whole shindig and take all the market share. So like they did with gaming, that's sort of like the plan there. But yeah, it's definitely a trend that's coming in, man. And it's taking over. But in terms of desktop and laptop, yeah, same thing. If it starts hitting the data center and then the server industry, it's only a matter of time before it gets broken down and they say, hey, we can hit this to the desktop market too, because we know everything involved and we've got the cheap offcuts, the stuff that no one wants, put that in a gaming PC. And Zalara, I'm consistently late, my kind of place. Yeah, that's a difference of cultures there. In Japan, man, like seriously, in Japan, if you are like, when I used to work as the teacher, whether it was at the primary school, whether it was at the high school, when I was teaching English, if I was 1 minute late, it was a catastrophe in the making. It was just, yeah, it was really bad. If you're 1 minute late, and in Australia, like 5 minutes late, no one cares, right? I remember when I worked at a bakery in Australia, I'd rock up like consistently, like 5-10 minutes late, no one cared. But yeah, 1 minute late in Australia and in Japan, it's a horrible thing. So funny that. So if you come into Japan and you're planning to work here and you're like me and you're terrible with time management, you got to fix that, because yeah, you'll get docked money, you'll get docked pay, and you'll get fired if you do it enough. So even if you're doing a great job, that's the sad thing. Take Your City, do you think Radeon can edge in on the CUDA market, and when it really kills them? Yeah, Radeon need to do a lot of things, man. I think Radeon plays catch up too much, and that's the problem. They need to do something completely different. Like for Radeon to beat CUDA, and more specifically the OpenCL, they need to get, like, say for instance, make a video editing program, like go team up with a video editor program and make a whole different update, Adobe, Radeon Studio, and be proactive and release something that's optimized for your gear and say, hey, this is made on Radeon and Radeon benefits it over CUDA, and the program itself is a lot better. And so you need to spend money to do that. You need all that R&D cash needs to go into that. And when can they do that? I've got no idea, man. I have no idea what AMD is planning to do. In fact, I'd say it's not gonna happen, because a lot of these companies are going to be shedding money, and they're going to be cutting back on R&D because of the inflation and all the problems that are existing right now. So yeah, it doesn't look good there. I'm not optimistic about that one. Take Your City, what would you recommend for playing Apex Legends in high refresh rate? So high settings, high refresh rate, 165 hertz. Pretty powerful card, like maybe 2080 Super or better. Yeah, 6600 XT would probably be able to do it if you don't mind changing this. Just max settings, you'd want like a 6700 XT. Definitely want something like that in there. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, you'll be able to get away with a little bit less if you don't mind tweaking the settings. Hey Brian, any recommendations for a friend who's studying in Osaka and trying to get a good value AMD PC? Gaming PC. He isn't too tech savvy and might be hard for him to build his own PC. Tell him to send us an email. I haven't sold any of my gaming PCs yet. Tell him to send us an email. What's his budget, and I'll take care of him. So thanks, Mika. I'll drop my email in the comments. Send me an email. I can help them out. So I'll do them a tech yes guy. If they don't know what they're doing, man, I can help them out easy. And shipping's so cheap in Japan domestically. So, and don't worry, I won't hustle them. I'll give them a good rate, a really good rate. So that'd be the best bet. I'll take care of you. Would you recommend the RX 6400? No, I wouldn't. Not with these prices right now. Look at these prices. You can get 1660 Supers, you can get RX 6600s. No one's selling an RX 6400 used or a 6500 XT used because no one was buying them to begin with. Actually, you might get some people who bought an RX 6500 XT and they regretted buying it. Like they actually regretted buying the card, and so they're popping it back up for sale. Yeah, so look at that. It looks like it's brand new. I feel sorry. Like, isn't it? Did they release a 6500 XT 4 gig? Wow. I thought it was only 8 gig. Man, someone got hosed on this. $130 for a 4 gig 6500 XT. Like, you got the worst of all worlds. Lightly played games. Yeah. He's just upgrading. Exactly what we were saying. I didn't check that one out, guys. Like, there's nothing's pre-scripted on this live stream. Exactly. You got people just selling. We got buyer's remorse here, and they're just getting rid of that 6500 XT. So not really a good, yeah, $100. I mean, much better cards out there on the market right now. I'd rather a 5600 XT over a 6500 XT any day of the week. Unless you were doing like a mini ITX PC, this card will be power efficient. And if it's the only card that fits and you can utilize what it's got, then it might be okay. So how long do you think the Pascal driver will last? I think Pascal will be coming out of fashion pretty soon, actually. I think 900 and 1000 series. They got to be careful, though. They got to be really careful with 1000 series cards. If they announce, like, the GTX 1060 is still on top, right? So they got to be very careful how they do that, because, yeah, I think at least another year should be. Pascal should at least have another year. So hopefully. So we got, yeah. So we're live, guys. We're going to tune this one down. I'm getting really hungry. You guys had a heap of questions as well. Which of your 7 Gravis cards would you recommend for VR? Ooh, I'm not versed. Like, actually, guys in the comments might be able to help you better with that one, my man. I actually don't do VR at all. So if someone wants to help you out in comments, what's a good GPU for VR? I'm just going to be honest. I don't know VR that well. So it's not my specialty. I'd say you'd need maybe a lot of VRAM for VR. So you'd want to go with at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM. That would just be off the top of my head. So don't go with a low VRAM card. Maybe if I was to like instantly compute some logic out there of the TechYes brain. But maybe people in the comments can help you about VR games and what GPU to go. What's the value king there? So Brian, please tell us your ex wasn't a student where you taught English. No, not at all. I met my ex at a bar, bro. I was out. It was just after the massive March earthquake on Fukushima, and I'd just run away to Australia because like I was hearing some scientists and they were like, look, no one knows what could go on with those nuclear reactors. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's advice, this is a scientist telling me the right advice, right? He's saying, look, no one knows what's going to happen with Fukushima. And I'm like, yeah, that's me on a plane out of Japan. I just told my work at the moment, I was like, look, guys, I just told my job, I was just like, look, I'm having a break for at least a month just until all this blows over, right? If it doesn't blow over, made the right choice. If it did blow over, then I can come back, right? It's only a plane ticket. And so so many other foreigners had the same idea that the local airport, the Narita airport, that was just sold out of tickets. But so I got on a train and went all the way to, what's the one in between Osaka and, I went to a whole nother city anyway, and took a plane from there and got back to the Gold Coast. So that was, yeah. And then when I got back, went to a bar to celebrate coming back to Japan, went to a bar and everything wasn't a catastrophe. And then that's when I met my ex. So, yeah, a place called The Hub. So if you guys are in Japan and you want a great bar to go to, I'm going to shill The Hub. So it's called The Hub, English pub in Japan. It's really good, actually. It's really nice. They have good prices, great atmosphere. And so we got Marco as well. Does Japan have a 7-Eleven and Family Mart shipping? Shipping? I haven't even looked into that, man. They've got a lot of convenience stores. They got a heap of convenience stores. Everywhere you go in Japan, there's a convenience store. But in terms of them shipping stuff, I'd have no idea. They work as shipping companies. Like you can get stuff delivered to your local convenience store and then go pick it up and you can go ship out a product because they work with the post office and courier companies. So I don't know. But in terms of them like selling candy and stuff and shipping it to your door, I've never heard of that. I mean, it might be a thing. So there you go. All right, that's a Halloween costume. I'm getting roasted now in the comments about my Where's Wally costume. I've even got the glasses, man. How is it not a costume? I've got the glasses too, brothers. How is it not a costume? So we got Preston Morton. He asked, what's the better card, RX 6600 or, and thanks for the $2 donation, or RX 5700 XT? Ooh. That's a good question. They're both like relatively the same off the top of my head. I'd go with the RX 6600 just because it's newer. But if you can get a really good deal for an RX 5700 XT. Depends on the price you can get them for. I mean, if we look at what some RX 5700 XTs sold for, wow, yeah. So at these prices, I would go with the RX 6600. I'm looking for lower, like 140. That's decent. I'd go with that. But sort of like 235, I'd be going with an RX 6600. That's just me. So there, I think the RX 6600 is like the most efficient powered GPU besides the RTX 49. It's the most efficient GPU because you don't want an RX 6500 XT. It's a gimped card. So yeah, that's a nice price there. RX 6600, $150. So if you're in the US right now, I'd be going with an RX 6600 over a 5700 XT. It's going to be less mined on as well. 5700 XT was a very popular card for mining. So, and that like better on par with 3080. You guys have got conversation going on that I have. Can we get some car content? Okay, some car content, cars and tech. We can get some car content. I've actually been talking to a drifter called Samet. He's from from Brisbane. He's a Brizzy boy. So he's from an area really close to where I'm at in Australia, and he's in Japan. It's about a 2-hour drive away. I've been meaning to collaborate with him, and that would be some car content on the channel, but we just haven't had the time schedules haven't worked out. I haven't been able to work out anything to get some of the parts that he wants. So I've got to look into that, and so hopefully I'll collaborate with a car channel, and we'll do a really cool video or a couple of videos on cars. And I would like to do some car content. Cars in Japan is definitely one thing you'll be enthusiastic about because all the Japanese sports cars are just amazing. So yeah, but I've been talking with Samet on DMs. He's a really cool dude. And hopefully we can get some car content coming even on Tech Yes City. So yeah, is the 3080 better than a 6800 XT? Well, if you're doing like Adobe, yeah, it is. If you're gaming, 6800 XT is going to be better in some games. 3080 depends on what you want, man. 3080 is definitely going to have better resale ability in a gaming PC. I can tell you that from experience. So I'd like to be honest, even though I know the 6800 XT is going to be a little bit better in games, the 3080 would be, I'd pick that over the 6800 XT. All right, guys, we're going to wind this one down, and final questions. Man, you guys have got so many questions this live stream. I'm almost getting tired from answering questions. You guys just keep going. Oh, it's been crazy. Where's Wally live stream? Is it because of the Wally costume? You guys want to ask more questions? 6700 XT or 3060 Ti if both are the same price. Personal PC, 6700 XT. Because I flip PCs, again, 3060 Ti. So that's the difference, right? If I was had no intention of reselling anything in the future, I was just buying to play games right now, and I had the choice between the 6700 XT and the 3060 Ti, I'd probably go the 6700 XT. But then again, DLSS 2.0 is really good. So it's a shuffle up, man. Look at the games you play as well. So there's a lot more to be. If for instance, if I was playing Cyberpunk, I'd be going with the 3060 Ti. If I was playing Dota 2, I'd go with the 6700 XT at 4K. It'll do it. That's the thing. So it all depends on your games too. What's a good maid cafe to go to? I don't know, man. I think I went to one 10 years ago as a joke. Cause the girlfriend, over 10 years ago, it was back in 2009, I think. And the girlfriend I had at the time was like, you got to go to a maid cafe. It's Japan. And I went to one and it was so bad. That was my... Sorry if you got your hopes up to go. I mean, they're probably better nowadays. Maid cafes are probably better nowadays. But when I went to one, it was some dudes converted their house into this cafe. And it was so bad. It was man, can I get out of here ASAP? So that was my experience with a maid cafe. It was employing all these chicks that they were just there had no interest in doing their job really. They were just there for hey, when can I get paid? And it was it was just a miserable experience for me personally. That was my experience with a maid cafe. So I wouldn't, I'm not doing it again, put it that way. Even if I was down on even if I was out of my luck, right? Say for instance, there was a massive earthquake and just my building collapsed and every other building here was fine. And I was down on my luck. My car just broke down and I was feeling like crap. I wouldn't even go to a maid cafe. I'd just go to a bar, right? And just drown my sorrows in some alcohol. That's just being real with you guys. So, tech, yes, cooking. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, cooking, man, I don't even have time to cook that much. So, like, yeah, cooking. Like, you guys want cars and then you want cooking. It's like, cars may be able to entertain that. Cooking, absolutely not. I can't do any cooking videos. No way. Maybe a tweet or something, which I did tweet about my breakfast the other day. It was a grapefruit. I was like, this is my price performance breakfast. And it was a grapefruit. That was what I was eating for breakfast. And if you guys want a good diet to go on, I'm piloting the grapefruit diet right now. So I'm eating a grapefruit in the morning and that's all I eat for breakfast. And so rank in Dota 2. I used to be like 4,600 back when they had the numbering system. But bro, in Dota 2, when I started playing Dota 2 in ranked, it got so frustrating. People were just yelling at each other all the time. And I'm like, man, I don't play video games to get stress, right? Because they're all going for 5k, right? If you got to 5k in Dota 2, you were like the Don. And I'm like, these guys are just not having fun with their gaming, man. And so I just went to turbo mode. That's why in Dota 2, I just played turbo. So that's all I play now because it's just fun. But even turbo mode on Dota 2, even turbo mode is starting to get like people who are so serious and all stressed out. And it's like, man, this is not what gaming is about. I play games to relax, not to get stressed from some dude over the mic because you didn't put a ward down at the location that he requested. It's like, man, and you don't even want to play support, right? You get forced into, you just like, play support. I don't want to play support. You play support. It's like, no, you're playing support. And then you get into an argument. What heroes? I usually play Storm Spirit, Task. Night Stalker is actually one who's really come into my mix. Night Stalker's really come into my mix. He's awesome. I love Night Stalker because a lot of these people are picking these, like, you know, like Shadow Shaman and stuff. And Stalker just with a blink, he just comes in and messes their plans up. So I like him. Can you grill your PC cooking with Intel? I could do an Intel cooking video. That might be cool. See what we can cook on the new CPUs. Mind you, the Ryzen 7000 series, they're going to be good. They're going to be good for cooking as well out of the box. I mean, they undervolt really good. But they're going to be coming in as well. We should do a cooking stream on the new CPUs. What cooks better, a 13900K or a 7950X? What cooks your food better? So I'd figured you'd get some natto for the full Japanese experience. All right, we'll close this stream off finally soon. We're going on to food now, and we're going places where, you know, soon I'll be getting asked what underwear do I wear. It's like, dude, I'm going to Don Quixote and I'm buying the heat tech there. That's like, they got the 5-star heat tech, so you don't even wear underwear. You just wear the long johns. You just wear the leggings now. And like, my ex was like, why you don't wear underwear anymore? I'm like, the heat tech is underwear, right? You've got the cutout there when you go to the toilet. Like, clearly it's intended to be underwear. So, you know, that's where, look, I already went there because I know where the chat starts going once it gets to this stage. So it's just like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I already answered. Anyway, guys, it's an awesome live stream. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, at the moment I'm wearing the Heat Tech, 5-star Heat Tech from Don Quixote, and I recommend it. I'm shilling for Don Quixote in Japan. It's some really comfortable stuff, and I don't know the brand name. It's like about $6 a piece, and it's like full. It's pro. Like, if you come to Japan and you're really cold, go to Don Quixote and ask for the 5-star Heat Tech. And you're going to be like, damn, that's some good stuff. So I've always got the metas going on every aspect, fellas. Don't worry. Don Quixote. That's the name. I'll put it in chat for you guys as well. It's Don Quixote. It's got to be a Mega Donkey as well. You got to go to Mega Donkey. So you just say Mega Donkey Doko Deska. And then you get the instructions and you go to the... we can close out with a bogan. Hey, guys.
This is Tech Air City. Welcome back to me live stream. And we're going to close this one out soon. We're going to close this one out. And thanks for tuning in, fellas. It was really great talking to you guys. What socks am I wearing right now? Okay, let's have a look. Adidas. That's what we got right now. Need socks info. There we go. Adidas socks, brothers. I always wear socks too. So that's like, I'm a socks dude as well. So, yeah. Like some people don't wear socks, even in winter. And I'm like, how do you not wear socks in winter? Like, that's insane. So, some people do, man. Some people are just thermonuclear reactors, man. And they need to stay warm. Like, I mean, they need to stay cool. So the feet keep cool. What laundry detergent do you... don't know, man. It's like this Japanese stuff. So, yeah, I just buy whatever's like on special for laundry detergent. It's midnight here. I have a long one. Yeah, guys, it'll be pretty late for a lot of you guys overseas. So thanks for tuning into the live stream. Also, smash the like button on the way out, guys. And also, if you've got any questions or comments that I missed in the live stream as well, I do apologize if I missed some questions. Be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll fire a reply back as soon as I can for you guys. In the meantime, thanks so much. I didn't even change scenes the whole way. So, where's Wally uniform? I didn't even change scenes this whole live stream. So thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, love each and every one of you. And we'll catch you in another live stream very soon. I'm thinking we'll live stream the AMD graphics card event, the launch of RDNA 3. So stay tuned for that. Hit that sub button, ring that bell, and we'll be seeing what Lisa Sue has installed for us come November 3, which will be like November 4, or actually it'll be late. It'll be late November 3 for a lot of guys outside the US. So drop the email for the... so I'll drop that email right now as well for you. That's the email there. Drop that. Just jot that down. So, and you can get your friend to send us an email. I can take care of them and help them out. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this live stream. Hopefully it lived up to your expectations. And we'll catch you guys in the next one very soon. And with that aside, I got to hold it. Peace out for now. You're going to have a guest for the AMD live stream. Yeah, I'll try and get a guest on. Yeah, I will get a guest on for that live stream because it will be late and I need someone to bounce off if it's late. Definitely. So are you a Breaking Bad fan? Yeah, I mean, Breaking Bad, everyone was a fan of Breaking Bad. Awesome drama. And I was a fan of Better Call Saul as well. Man, Better Call Saul had some of the best lols. Like some of those hard punching lols that came out of nowhere. Like the slip and fall. I didn't even know the slip and fall was a thing. Like slang for just trying to, you know, just put on a slip. The slip and fall was the funniest thing in Better Call Saul. Hey, I laughed so hard when I saw that. It was done so well. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out for now. Don't whatever you do around the world, don't do a slip and fall, okay? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.